Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, I'm Terrell and I break down the VA claim process in straight talk. So you don't have to guess what the VA is doing behind the scenes. But before we dive in, I want to point to you this blog post from VA Claims Insider called How Are VA Secondary Conditions Calculated? I'll drop the link in the description below. And if you want extra details or some downloadable tools, be sure to read it after watching. All right, let's get into it. How does the VA actually calculate secondary conditions and how do they factor into your overall VA disability rating? So, what's a secondary VA disability rating, you might ask? First things first. A secondary condition is one that is caused or aggravated by another existing service connected condition. For example, sleep apnea as a result of PTSD or depression tied to chronic pain. Once recognized, the VA rates that secondary conditions separately, just like any primary condition. Why can't you just add all the percentages most veterans often ask? That's a common misconception. If you have multiply rated conditions, say 70, 50, and 10, etc., you may think you just add them up. That's not how the VA works. The VA use what is called sometimes VA math or diminishing returns formula. Here's the principle. The VA assumes your body or system starts at 100% efficiency. You subtract the highest rated conditions first, then each subsequent rating is applied to whatever efficiency remains. And here's a step-by-step example, so keep up with me and you may have to pause and slow this down. Let me take you through a simplified example. Say you have 70% for PTSD as a primary, 50% sleep apnea, which is a secondary to PTSD, and 10% for tinnitus as a primary. VA math will work like this. You started at 100%, remove the 70, and now your 30% efficiency is left. Next, you apply 50% to that remaining 30, then that's 15%. You subtract that, now you have 15% efficiency. You apply 10% to the 15%, and that's 1.5%. Subtract that, and now you have 13.5% remaining. Now subtract the 100 from the 13.5, that's 86.5, which rounds to 90. That's how the VA ends up with a combined rating that isn't just the sum of all your individual ratings. The combined ratings tables process. To make this easier, the VA provides a combined rating table found under 38 CFR 4.25. You take your two highest ratings, find out where they intersect on the table, and that gives you your combined rating. Then you add your additional disabilities one by one using that same method, applying the percentages to the leftover efficiency. The blog also recommends using a reliable VA disability calculator, and yes, we offer one, to avoid the manual error. Here are some key tips and special considerations. Always order your conditions from the highest percentage downwards. Round to the nearest 10%, 0.5 and above rounds up. Watch out for the bilateral factor. If you have conditions in paired limbs like arms and both legs, there are ratings are first combined, then 10% of that combined value is added before combining with other disabilities. Secondary conditions do matter. Properly recognizing and calculating them can give you an idea of how they might raise your total rating and your monthly compensation. Here are some common frequently asked questions. One, why does the VA not just add everything? Well, simple, because addition could exceed 100% that doesn't accurately reflect functional loss. How do I add a new secondary condition later? It's added using the same VA math method applied to what's left of your current efficiencies. Can mental and physical conditions be combined? Yes. Everything service connected, mental or physical, is calculated together. Does VA math ever give 100%? Yes. If your combined disability rating ends up at or above 95%, it generally rounds up to 100. How about special monthly compensation or SMC? Well, that's calculated separately and outside of your combined rating system. All right, veterans, that's how the VA calculates secondary conditions and combined ratings. If you found this helpful, do me a favor. Hit the like and subscribe so you don't miss future deep dives. 2. Go check out the blog post on vaclaimsinsider.com. It's got full text, the combined rating table, and a handy calculator link. Again, I'll link it below. If you're working on a VA claim or an appeal right now, drop your questions or scenarios in the comments. I'll try to respond and maybe do a follow-up video to your comments. Thank you for watching, and as always, stay sharp, stay informed, and never settle when it comes to fighting for what you've earned. I'll see you next time. I'm Terrell. This is VA Claims Insider, and as always, thank you for serving with honor.
This business is not sponsored by or affiliated with the United States Department of Veterans Affairs or your state's Department of Military and Veterans Affairs or any other federally chartered veterans service organization. Other organizations, including but not limited to your state's Department of Military and Veterans Affairs, a local veteran service organization, and other federally chartered veteran service organizations provide this service free of charge. You may qualify for other veterans benefit services outside the scope of what this business offers. All disability claims for increased ratings are processed by the United States Department of Veterans Affairs. This business cannot expedite the processing of your claim by the United States Department of Veterans Affairs.